Imagine this, guys. You decide to go meet an online friend in person. You trust a complete stranger, ignore your father's warnings, and go anyway. But suddenly you find yourself trapped in a nightmare so terrifying, you never could have even dreamed of it. Something that changes your entire life forever. Seriously, everyone. Today's story is going to show you exactly why it is so dangerous to trust people from the internet. What happened to this girl is a huge warning for all of us, and it's going to make you think 1,000 times before ignoring your parents' advice. Get ready, because this is absolutely terrifying from beginning to end. Everyone, I am completely terrified by what I am about to tell you. Seriously, when you hear this story, you are going to understand exactly why it is so dangerous to meet people from the internet in person. What happened to this girl for 50 Robux? Just 50 Robux is something you will never forget. Before we begin, if you love your dad who protects you and would never let you do something so dangerous, give this video a like right now and subscribe to always stay protected. Because this story that happened just 8 months ago is going to make you think 1,000 times before trusting strangers on the internet. And get ready, everyone, because what I am about to tell you is absolutely terrifying from beginning to end. All right, friends. This story happened exactly 8 months ago. In a coastal city in Brazil, there was a girl, let's call her Maya Meow, who lived with her dad in a modest apartment near the center of town. Maya's mom had passed away from an illness when she was only 7 years old, so it was just her and her dad, let's call him Mateo, looking out for each other and taking care of one another. Mateo worked as a mechanic in a car repair shop and worked incredibly hard to give Maya a good life. He didn't make a lot of money, but he did everything he could so that Maya would have everything she needed: a good school, decent clothes, and food on the table. Mateo loved his daughter more than anything else in the world. She was the only thing he had left from his late wife. Maya was a very introverted and shy girl. She found it hard to make friends at school. She felt really uncomfortable in large groups and preferred to be by herself. She spent almost all of her free time in her room playing Roblox. For Maya, Roblox wasn't just a game, it was her entire social life. There, she had friends and felt accepted. She could be whoever she wanted to be. Mateo would worry when he saw Maya spend so much time locked away in her room. He tried to encourage her to go outside, do activities, and meet people in person, saying, "My daughter, you need real friends, not just internet friends." But Maya insisted that her Roblox friends were completely real and that they understood her much better than anyone at her school. 8 months ago, Maya met a player on Roblox who said his name was Lucas. Lucas said he was 16 years old and lived in another coastal city, which was about a 2-hour flight from where Maya lived. They played together almost every single day and talked for hours in the game's chat window. They had become very close. Lucas had an amazing avatar in Roblox, filled with exclusive and expensive items. He would always tell Maya about all the Robux he had and the special packages he bought. Maya, who played with a basic avatar because Mateo couldn't afford to spend money on Robux, felt a little bit of envy, but mostly admiration. Lucas seemed so cool and so generous. One day, Lucas made a proposal to Maya. He said, "Hey Maya, if you come to visit me in person, I'll give you 50 Robux. I have tons of it. It costs me nothing." Maya got so thrilled by the idea. 50 Robux was a massive fortune to her. She would be able to buy cute clothes, accessories, and completely improve her avatar. Plus, the idea of meeting her best friend from Roblox in person sounded really exciting. Maya told Mateo about Lucas and the invitation. Mateo immediately went on high alert. He said, "My daughter, you don't actually know that boy. He could easily be lying, and above all, it is very dangerous to travel alone to meet someone from the internet." Maya insisted that Lucas was completely trustworthy, and that they had played together for months. But Mateo also felt guilty for keeping Maya so isolated from the world. He thought that maybe if she made a friend in another city, it could help her open up socially. After thinking about it for a long time, Mateo made a terrible mistake. He said, "All right, you can go. but I'm going to talk to that boy first and check everything. Mateo spoke with Lucas through Roblox messages. Lucas gave him his home address, his parents' phone number, and all the information Mateo asked for. Mateo called the number, and indeed, a woman answered who claimed to be Lucas's mom. Everything seemed totally legitimate. Mateo, wanting Maya to be happy and less lonely, finally approved the trip. Mateo bought a plane ticket for Maya. It was a short flight, about 2 hours, on a small plane from a regional airline. Mateo himself would accompany Maya to the airport. He would watch her board the plane, and on the other side, supposedly Lucas's parents would pick her up. It seemed like a safe plan with reasonable precautions. The week before the trip, Maya was super excited. She talked to Mateo every day about her conversations with Lucas and their plans for what they would do when they met. Mateo still had some doubts, but seeing Maya so happy and full of energy was something he hadn't seen in years. He thought that maybe he had made the right decision. On the day of the trip, a Saturday morning, Mateo and Maya went to the airport. Maya carried a small backpack with clothes to spend the weekend. She was nervous but very excited. Mateo gave her 1,000 instructions. Call as soon as she landed, send messages constantly, and don't go anywhere without Lucas's parents. Return on Sunday night. Maya promised to do everything. She said goodbye to her dad with a tight hug. Mateo saw her pass security and watched her walk toward the boarding gate. Maya turned around one last time to wave goodbye before disappearing down the hallway. Mateo just stood there, feeling a huge knot in his stomach. Something told him this wasn't right. Maya boarded the plane, which was small, the type with only 30 seats. She sat by the window looking at the clouds, imagining what it would finally be like to meet Lucas in person. The plane took off without any problems.
Maya looked out the window, watching the city grow tiny below her. The flight went perfectly normally for the first hour. Maya played Roblox in offline mode on her cell phone and ate snacks that Mateo had packed for her. She was calm. Other passengers were reading, sleeping, or talking to each other. The crew was serving drinks. Everything was routine and boring, just like any other flight. But then, friends, more or less an hour and 15 minutes into the flight, when they were over the ocean, something terrible happened. The plane began to shake violently, and the lights flickered on and off. The flight attendant who was serving drinks almost fell down. The pilot spoke over the loudspeaker with a very tense voice. "Attention passengers, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please keep your seatbelts fastened in your seats." Maya felt an immediate wave of panic. The plane kept shaking, and now it was making strange noises as well. Other passengers started to scream. Maya gripped the armrests of her seat tightly. Her heart was beating uncontrollably. Looking through the window, she saw they were descending. The ocean was getting closer and closer. The pilot spoke again, now with a voice that tried to sound calm, but was clearly frightened. "We are going to make an emergency water landing. Crew, prepare for a water evacuation." The flight attendant started screaming instructions about life jackets, the brace position, and emergency exits. Maya cried, completely terrified. This couldn't be happening. She was on that plane for 50 Robux to meet someone from the internet who might not even be real, and now she was going to die crashing into the ocean? She put on her life jacket with trembling hands. She got into the brace position just as the flight attendants showed. The plane descended incredibly fast toward the water. Through the window, Maya saw the blue ocean approaching at a terrifying speed. Everyone on the plane was screaming. The impact, when it came, was absolutely brutal. The plane hit the water with tremendous force. Maya felt as if she had been hit by a giant hammer, her whole body shaken violently. The plane bounced on the water once, twice, finally remaining half floating and half sinking. The windows on the right side had shattered from the impact. Ocean water began to rush inside. Immediately, Maya saw the water rising down the aisle of the plane, cold and salty, filling the space rapidly. The flight attendant screamed, "Evacuate! Get out through the emergency exits!" But it was total chaos, people screaming, pushing, and trying to reach the doors. The water was already up to Maya's knees, and she remained in her seat, completely paralyzed with terror. She couldn't move. She couldn't even think. She just watched the water rise and rise. A man who was sitting nearby grabbed Maya by the arm. He pulled her out of her seat, shouting, "Come on, girl, you have to get out right now." He dragged her through the flooding aisle. The water was already up to her waist. The plane was tilting more and more, sinking on one side. They reached an emergency exit that was open. The man pushed Maya outside. Maya fell into the ocean right from the plane door. The water was freezing cold. It completely took her breath away. She sank under the water for a moment before the life jacket brought her back up to the surface. Some passengers had life rafts that had inflated automatically. Maya swam toward a raft where there were already 5 people, and they helped her climb up inside. She was trembling violently. She didn't know if it was from the freezing water or the absolute shock. She counted quickly. There were about 20 people visible floating around, but the plane had 30 passengers plus the crew. Where were all the others? Minutes passed that felt like hours floating in those rafts. The sun was beating down hard on them. The ocean rocked with waves that caused intense nausea. Maya cried, thinking about Mateo, who didn't even know the plane had gone down, who must be sitting calmly at home, waiting for her to call when she landed. Then, they heard the most beautiful sound in the world. A helicopter. Someone had managed to send an emergency signal right before the impact. The Coast Guard had received the signal and sent rescue helicopters. Maya saw the helicopter approach, tears of relief mixing with the salt water on her face. This story has crucial lessons for everyone. First, never trust people you only know from the internet, especially if they invite you to meet up in person. Lucas seemed legitimate for months. He passed all of Mateo's verifications, but he was a dangerous predator. People like that are absolute experts at deceiving others. Second, nothing virtual, neither Robux, nor items, nor promises, is ever worth risking your safety. Maya was going to travel all by herself for 50 Robux. 50 Robux that weren't even real because Lucas was a liar. She almost died twice for virtual coins she was never going to receive. And finally, if something feels wrong, it probably is wrong. Mateo had a knot in his stomach saying goodbye to Maya. Maya had small doubts about traveling alone. Both of them ignored those instincts. Always listen to your intuition regarding safety. Maya is 15 years old today. She doesn't play online video games at all anymore. She has real friends from school now, after putting a lot of effort into socializing. And she is still in therapy, working through the deep trauma of the accident. She has a fear of flying that limits her travel, but she is learning to live with it. Mateo still works as a mechanic. He is much more overprotective of Maya now, but she understands completely and doesn't complain. Both are incredibly grateful for each day they have together, knowing exactly how close they came to losing everything. The experience changed them forever, but it also made them stronger. Maya's story became a case study in internet safety education. Schools use her story to teach students about the dangers of online predators. Maya has even given talks sharing her experience, hoping others will learn without suffering the way she suffered. Guys, give a like and subscribe to stay protected. This terrifying story reminds us that the internet has real dangers, that strangers are not your friends, and that safety is more important than anything virtual. Tell me in the comments, do your parents set rules for you about using the internet? Do you understand why they do it? I really want to read your thoughts. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Enjoy the internet, but use it with extreme caution. Maya almost died twice in the ocean for 50 fake Robux. Don't make the same mistake. Stay safe, trust your parents, and never meet strangers from the internet in person, no matter what they promise you. Your life is worth infinitely more than any virtual item. See you in the next video.